I think I should join the circus.
You should join the circus. After 2 trapeze classes 2 years ago, I think you should join the circus.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Off to Broadway, the podcast where we deep dive into anything and everything musical theater from the comfort of my car. I'm Tara.
I'm Stefania.
And in today's episode, we're talking all about The Greatest Showman. We just watched this movie again. I was thinking of doing that and didn't know if you were going to do that, so I'm happy that you did that.
I also, can we talk about the greatest app discovery of all time, which is Scener?
Scener, if you want to sponsor us, we're ready.
Yeah, we will do the SpawnCon. We're doing the free SpawnCon right now. Scener is a Google Chrome extension that we both downloaded, and we used it to watch The Greatest Showman together. And the fun part is that it synced our movies up for us, and we could see each other in our tiny little webcam screens. And so when we were dancing along to the music, it felt like we were there together.
I think the interesting thing about this platform versus other ones like Netflix Watch Party or Teleparty or whatever it's called is that this one is supposed to be a theatrical experience. So when you click host a room, you're actually hosting a movie theater in quotes, which I guess is kind of what you were saying of, yeah, we can watch each other on a little screen. It's a communal event. It was
I felt
so
we were really
funny.
together versus when we're just chatting to each other, you know? It was fun.
So in preparation for watching The Greatest Showman, we also put on Passion, which was great. You can watch YouTube on this, which is a game changer, honestly, because we send each other YouTube videos 24 hours a day. So to watch these videos together, it was so funny. We laughed, we cried, we danced. It was awesome.
It really brought me so much joy 10 months into the pandemic. We're going to have a Scener party every week.
Yes. So The Greatest Showman is now on Disney Plus, which I think we were both like, why is this on Disney Plus? But
I swear it was on Crave a month ago.
It might have been, but it was part of the Disney buying Fox deal.
Oh, right.
So that's how it ended up. I watched The Greatest Showman, the last 10 minutes of it around Christmas time because it was playing on ABC, and then all of a sudden a little box came up at the bottom being like, want to watch this movie again? Watch it on Disney Plus. And I never seen an advertisement like that before. So
Fascinating.
Yeah. But this is a movie that if you have not seen it, you can watch it on Disney Plus. And we both saw this for the first time in 2017. And I feel like this movie has had quite a life since it first came out all those years ago.
So we saw it in theaters together. We were very excited to see The Greatest Showman. It's based on P.T. Barnum, quite loosely, very loosely based on P.T. Barnum. And it's kind of how he created the circus, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know very much about P.T. Barnum's life in general. And I don't think that we know very much about P.T. Barnum's life after this movie.
I think you're 100% correct. I did Wikipedia P.T. Barnum, and I was just reading about it. And I was like, I guess this is kind of what was in the movie. But the movie is a quite sanitized version of P.T. Barnum. It is very squeaky clean. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting choice that they made for this.
Yeah. So I think originally when we heard that this movie was coming out, we were excited because it's a movie musical, and there hadn't been... I'm trying to think of the last one that I had seen before Greatest Showman.
La La Land?
Was that the year before?
Yeah, it was the year before.
Yeah. So, but I would argue that this feels more musical.
This does feel more theatrical than something like a La La Land felt, for sure. A completely original movie musical that was huge and over the top with theater performers, with huge choreographed dance numbers. Very exciting. And I think one of the most exciting things was that it had all original music and original storyline.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts the first time that you saw this movie?
I love this movie. I had a blast at this movie, and yet I also recognize and realize and would say it is bad. And that does not mean I love it. It is so much fun. I've seen it so many times. It's a great movie to watch on a plane. I've watched it on a plane many times and kind of fast forward to the musical numbers. It is a blast. But overall, I kind of think it's bad.
See, I love this movie. And I don't think it was until this most recent watch that I realized how not problematic. I guess it's a little problematic. It is. But as you had said the other day, this movie is boring scenes and incredible music videos. And I 100% agree. And when the music hits and these big choreographed dances and everything happen, it's so good and it's so exciting. And that's what you want more of.
It feels so grand. It feels like larger than life. It is. The energy in the musical numbers, fantastic. And then it really just falls so flat when the musical number is not happening.
So when this movie came out in 2017, it was definitely not a critic's pick. The critics did not like this movie at all, but it had some of the biggest box office numbers that for a movie musical in a very long time. So The Greatest Showman was in theaters for 219 days straight. That's crazy.
It's a lot of time. It like grew. Like it didn't have a huge opening weekend, but it kept consistently growing, where normally movies fall off after their opening weekend, but The Greatest Showman went up.
Yeah, so this movie came out in December 2017. It left movie theaters in July, and the worldwide total that it made was $400 million.
Wow.
This movie only cost $85-ish million to make, so they definitely turned around a pretty big profit. And not only was it a huge hit in Canada and the States, but worldwide. And I went back to see sort of how this became a phenomenon. And I really think that the song that did it was This Is Me. If you remember, in the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics, the final skate performance, the big group number was to This Is Me, which is amazing.
Yes, at the gala. This Is Me just pops up everywhere. I remember I was watching with my family Making the Cut, which was a fashion competition series on Amazon. And at the end, after the winner was announced, they did a montage of his accomplishments throughout the season, and it was to This Is Me. And I couldn't get a hold of myself. I just kept laughing. I'm like, this is so dumb. Why are we doing this? Well,
it's interesting too, because in the 2 years that we've had this podcast, we've talked about The Greatest Showman off and on, never actually just discussing it. But From Now On was literally just one of my obsessions at the end of last year. It was one of your obsessions early on in our podcast. And something that we discussed the other day was that this movie is not just for adults. The kids are obsessed with it.
Kids love it. I've talked about, I taught like dance and art, and I would play it for the dance kids and they'd love it, and I'd play it for the art kids, like while we'd be working on art, just the full cast recording, full soundtrack for them, and they all have favorites and they'd all be dancing to it, and we'd like, can we play The Greatest Showman today? Every week I'd play The Greatest Showman. It's so pure, like it's very kid friendly but also fun, and I enjoyed it too, so it was like the perfect music to choose.
Yeah, it's also had sort of a resurgence on TikTok in the last year. I always see videos that when you are watching a TikTok video, the scrolling on the bottom music is The Greatest Showman. Everyone is doing the From Now On dance. I sent you the most precious video the other day of these two little kids that are supposed to be sleeping in their room and just like wanting to reenact Million Dreams and Rewrite the Stars. It's so fascinating to me that like the littlest of little kids love this movie.
Have you seen the ones where it's like makeup reviews, I think, where it's the other side? It's like, oh, thanks, but no. And they're like throwing the makeup to the side. It's like, don't buy this. Don't buy this. It's just, it applies to every situation.
Why do you think that this movie is such a huge hit?
I really just think it is fun. I don't know. The closest comparison I have for it is Mamma Mia. And it's just, you go into a theater and you're just going to get pure, unadulterated joy and fun songs. And you're not being asked to think too hardly about anything that's happening on screen. It's really, really, P.T. Barnum's life was much more complicated than this. But The Greatest Showman is like, we're not going to deal with any of that. We're going to simplify this, and we're just going to give you the bare bones of fun. It's visually stunning to look at, gorgeous. I just think of the elephants for some reason. They're huge, just like randomly in the background of scenes, and it brings you that joy. It is a movie that's like, oh, I'm in a good mood, I want to watch The Greatest Showman.
I definitely agree with that. I think that in this case, in terms of what makes it a global phenomenon, is exactly what you said. It does not matter what the storyline is. It's that it's just fun. Period. That's all it is. And it's so great to watch it with the lens of I don't need to really like pay close attention or take this too seriously. I can just sit down and enjoy for an hour and 45 minutes, which is prime movie time, let me
Correct.
just say.
Nothing should be longer than that.
Yeah. But even thinking of the setting of where it takes place, like that house that they live in is stunning. The beach is amazing. When they put on all of the performances in the circus aspect of it, it's so bright and colorful. And one of the first times that we got to see that was when they performed at the Warner Brothers lot, which was in advance of this movie coming out. It was during Christmas Carol Live, right?
Christmas Story Live, yes.
Yeah. So
another Pasek and Paul joint.
Yes. And it was the whole cast, and they performed Come Alive, and it was sort of, this is a tease of what the movie is. It was so exciting. I had listened to that soundtrack fully before we had seen the movie, and in this case, I feel like it was a good thing that it was released just before that movie came out, because it really did let people that might have been skeptical about it get a taste of what the music was. And I mean, let's just say this right now. I think that it is maybe the best Pasek and Paul score that they have.
It's so tough. It's very different from their other stuff, I feel. It has their like pop sensibility, but I do feel it's super, super different from anything else they've written.
Yeah, so the Greatest Showman soundtrack has been on the Billboard 200 charts for years now, and even to the point that in 2020, it was still number 2 on the soundtrack list. So it hits universally, and it's also one of those soundtracks we had discussed that it could play on the radio, and that also helped because of that Reimagined soundtrack that came out.
It was playing on the radio, the Reimagined soundtrack. I remember listening to Rewrite the Stars. Whoever sang that, I'm like, it doesn't matter who sang it on the Reimagining, but that would play on the radio. I'd be listening. I'm like, it's The Greatest Showman. Okay, as I'm driving to work or whatever.
As you just said, this soundtrack is kind of different to Pasek and Paul's normal style of music. So I think we both can agree that one of the first cast recordings we heard from them was Dogfight.
Yes, that was the first thing I heard from Pasek and Paul. Well, Smash, but then Dogfight.
Yes, that's true. I definitely, knew Smash before Dogfight. And I have to say, their Smash songs in season 2, which we did talk about in our Smash episode, those are some of my favorite Smash songs.
Well, let's talk about the Rewrite This Story, Rewrite the Stars.
Yes.
They only have one idea, and you got to rewrite it.
But both of those songs, fantastic.
Great, amazing.
And they also did Caught in the Storm, which is one of my favorite songs from Smash. And then I also love Original, which Original is kind of poppy, could find its way into a Greatest Showman type score in comparison to the other stuff that they've done.
Yeah, Original I don't like that much.
Moving on then. And then obviously Dear Evan Hansen was a big show for them and probably exposed them to Hollywood, I would say.
Well, it was their first big hit, which is kind of crazy. But I don't think it exposed them to Hollywood because they've been working on La La Land already when Dear Evan Hansen opened, you know?
Yeah, but Dear Evan Hansen opened in whatever year, but that show had been in the works for 7 years.
For sure, but so had La La Land, you know? I think
it's the Platt family, though, that helped that happen.
Maybe it's the Platt family because they're involved in all of those things. But yeah, yes. I think they were kind of around and people knew of them. And then all of their projects just ended up kind of hitting within 2 years of each other, basically, with Dear Evan Hansen and La La Land opening the same year, The Greatest Showman being the next year. So they were really at the front of mind for everything. And now, you know, they worked on the Aladdin movie. And yeah, it says, as per Wikipedia, which is very trustworthy, that they're working on the upcoming Disney adaptation of Snow White, doing music for that, which is super interesting.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't seem like their typical style, but, you know.
I guess just doing Aladdin live action exposed them to the world of Disney, and they were like, we liked your song for this, let's put you for this one. And then also they're doing, I think, a couple new songs for the Dear Evan Hansen movie that's currently filming.
Probably, you know, you gotta go for that Oscar with the original song, best original song. They've got one already, but, you know, we need more.
Yes. And it is interesting that, as you said, all of these projects sort of came out within a year of each other, because Dear Evan Hansen, obviously a Tony darling, and then City of Stars won the Oscar for the 89th Academy Awards, and then This Is Me was nominated for the 90th Academy Awards. So what a crazy couple years.
It was beat by Remember Me from Coco, which Bobby and Kristen Lopez, amazing. We love them. Fantastic. I don't know if I love Remember Me. Do you remember the Oscar performance of Remember Me? Was it Gail Garcia Bernal just like singing that song so unpleasantly?
Yes. But I also don't think that the This Is Me performance was that great at the Oscars. The Oscars performances are never what they should be.
It is always rough. You're right. You're right. The next year was
Well, now
shallow.
I'm thinking of this. Did they have Ryan Gosling sing City of Stars?
No, John Legend did it. He did like a montage of I think John Legend.
Wow, I actually love that John Legend song in La La Land.
We can start a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love that John Legend song, but that wasn't nominated for an Oscar. No, it was just Audition and City of Stars nominated for an Oscar, but I'm pretty sure that it was John Legend who performed them.
Yeah, I just can't imagine Ryan Gosling getting up there like Bradley Cooper did.
Ryan Gosling would never, and Bradley Cooper gave us what we wanted with the iconic Shallow performance at the Oscars. What was better than that performance? When the camera from the back came in and they just walked up from the audience and amazing. A Star is Born.
Wow,
this is actually now a Star is Born cast.
Episode.
This is the Star is Born cast. But yeah, Pasek and Paul have really, like, in the past, I would say 5 years, their rise has just been like meteoric. You know, they had a slow start, not a slow start, but Dogfight didn't quite make it to Broadway, even though I think it was like pretty well reviewed. And then A Christmas Story was a seasonal thing, but it was well reviewed, but again, didn't like quite capture in the same way that some of their later stuff did. But then, you know, all of these things happening at once really, really made them kind of not household names, but to theater people kind of top of mind for, who's writing this modern musical? Let's get Pasek and Paul. They're like always kind of at the top of the list for who's wanted to be writing new stuff. And I really like what they do. I like that they kind of, because they're quite young, they have a pop like twist that goes on a lot of things that I think hooks audiences very well right now. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I've seen so many videos now of either people performing their songs with Justin Paul sitting at the piano. And, like, obviously, Benj is never there because he's the lyric writer, but I just want to know what he's doing. They write both together, I think,
but just Benj isn't...
he's not playing any instruments.
No, he's not playing piano.
But one of the most iconic moments of Justin Paul playing music was the behind-the-scenes video of The Greatest Showman workshop, which was the workshop that they needed to do to greenlight this movie. I think you need to set this up because I know that it is very important to you.
It is really important. Okay. So there is an iconic video, Kara's right, from the workshop for the investors of The Greatest Showman where they played them all the music to get, you know, the financial backing to do this movie. And the viral video that was released by The Greatest Showman team has... of them singing From Now On is like, there's just so many amazing parts of it. It just gets better and better with every watch. The other night we were on Cedar, we watched it like twice in a row because it's so good. So I have taken the liberty of ranking the top 5 moments of that video. So if you want to go and pull it up on YouTube, if you haven't seen it before, I can't believe
we'll put it in the description box.
We'll put it in the description box. You must watch this video because I am now about to rank the top 5 moments starting from number 5. Hugh Jackman's Band-Aid, because he had just had surgery to remove some skin cancer, so he has a Band-Aid on his nose. In the video, I think he said he had 80 stitches. That seems like a lot, but number 5.
I wonder how big it was to remove, because 80 stitches would make me think that it was a huge piece of skin to remove.
His nose looks fairly normal. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, number 4, Justin Paul losing his mind on the piano as the song goes on. Just really watch it. Watch him stand. Number 3, Hugh Jackman talk singing, My God, It Starts Tonight. Is that a good impression? It wasn't.
That was great.
It wasn't. But just his interpretation, his acting in that moment. Number 3. Number 2, Cynthia Erivo screaming on the chair.
That's the best part.
When the camera pans to her and she's just like going for it. Amazing.
Which is so funny. Well, 1 second. Which is so funny because you, for half of that video, do not see Cynthia Erivo, but you just hear her in the background. And when we were watching this on scene, you're like, that's Cynthia. I know that's Cynthia. We can hear her. And then it slow pans to her, and she's just like throwing her hands. It's so good. Wearing a yoga tracksuit and glasses.
Yes, and she's got like great hair. It's just, they're also casual. They just casually show up and then give the performance of their lives for this. It must have been so crazy to be in that room. Okay, number one is there is a moment where Hugh Jackman and Jeremy Jordan high five, and I don't know why it kills me every time. It is so funny. They're just both like singing, and then Hugh Jackman reaches his hand out and Jeremy's like, yes, let's high five.
I agree. I think that you nailed the top 5. And I also think that now is the perfect time to transition into the iconic Jeremy Jordan story, which was actually, again, just released on YouTube. We will link it in the description for our YouTube viewers. So Jeremy Jordan did a concert back in early 2020, about a year ago, actually. And it was a cabaret at 54 Below. He did, I think, upwards of 15 shows, and they actually just won a Broadway World Award for Best Cabaret. And Ben Rowla released a video of Jeremy doing a Greatest Showman medley. Now, we had kind of heard bits and pieces of what the actual story was because, as Steph said, we saw him in this iconic video and knew that
he's the one who starts to sing before Hugh takes over singing.
Yeah. So we had known that he was asked by Pasek and Paul to do the demos of The Greatest Showman, which is literally not unheard of. Many, many times
all the time,
singers are asked to just do demos. And then he said that he was asked to come in and do this workshop playing Philip. So this was the first phone call that he got. At the time, I think he said he was doing Supergirl. So he was in LA. Right. The workshop was in New York. Then he gets a call again saying, Hugh Jackman needs to have surgery to remove his skin cancer. So we need you to actually play both parts. Great. I'll do it. We
need to hear his other side. That is both.
Yes.
Philip and P.T. Barnum.
Yes. And then as Jeremy is getting ready to board the plane to New York, he loses his voice and he cannot sing. And this is like the biggest thing in his career is that he needs to sing so that he himself can get this movie greenlit, basically, because he is singing the two main parts.
Just riding on his shoulders. Jeremy Jordan personally got this movie greenlit.
Yes. And it wasn't that normally Justin Paul would also step in to help sing, but he also randomly lost his voice and could not do it. So Jeremy says in this video, to make a long story short, that he ended up taking steroids to be able to sing, which he was like, this is a no-no, never do that as a singer. And while he is giving this speech, he's also singing the different songs of The Greatest Showman. And so the workshop happens, and as we just said, the last song that they perform is From Now On. And Hugh Jackman he just cannot contain himself. He needs to sing, even though he's not allowed to sing. And there is a moment in the video that you can see on Jeremy's face that he's like, it's over.
I can't believe this is happening right now.
Over.
He was a good sport in the video, but like now what we know now, it's funny.
And I think exactly, knowing what we know now, this was obviously kind of like a traumatizing experience for him at the end of the day because he had given so much to this and he thought, okay, well, Hugh is in, so it's fine. I still have the chance to play Philip Carlyle. And before this meeting ended, he heard that Hugh Jackman had just got on the phone with Zac Efron for the part. And just to think that your dreams are shattered because Zac Efron is going to replace you. I'm so sorry, Jeremy.
It's just, it sounds like it was kind of a bit of a traumatizing moment for him a little bit. And then to have the video of it go viral is just another level of hilarity
you're reminded of that moment from 2017 like over and over and over again. And he says in this cabaret that the reason that he is singing these songs now is to say goodbye to that chapter in his life. And I wonder if he's ever seen the movie. I feel like he hasn't.
I mean, he's got a young daughter now. Like, this is a perfect movie for her to watch, you know?
She's a little too young. She's only 2.
She's small, but
yeah.
I feel like eventually she'll get to watch the movie, you know? So speaking of From Now On, let's talk about our favorite songs in this movie. We each ranked our top 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 3 from The Greatest Showman is Come Alive.
Me too. I think we're actually going to have the exact same top 3.
Do you think?
But
Do you think?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. Okay, number 3. My number 2 is From Now On.
Oh, no, we don't have the same top 3. My number 2 is Rewrite the Stars, and my number 1 is From Now On. So.
Oh, wow. My number 1 is Never Enough.
I forgot that you had this whole epiphany on
I
Friday.
love Never Enough. I love Never Enough.
Let's talk about Come Alive. So this, as I said, was the first song that I think we had seen a staged sort of version of with that Warner Brothers lot performance. I think the beginning of this song and the way that it builds is amazing. I also am so obsessed with the choreography, and my favorite part is what we talked about the other day of his daughters doing the choreography off in the corner. It's so good. This song is the definition of fun and joy and everything that you need right now. So I love this song so much.
I agree, and I also think it's a great storytelling song. The way that it builds from they're nervous backstage, like, to be who they are, and Hugh Jackman is inspiring them. P.T. Barnum is inspiring them in this moment to go out, and they start out timid, and then they, like, you know, come alive in front of this audience, and they're allowed to be themselves for the first time to this song. Yeah. Amazing. And it's, like, very funky choreography as well. And I also, like, every time Hugh Jackman does the choreography, like, the group choreography, it, like, I get such a kick out of it. I really do.
Well, the funniest thing in that scene that you don't realize when you first watch this movie, or maybe you do the first time you see this movie, but Hugh Jackman P.T. Barnum takes out this loan, and then 1 second later, he rents out the place that they're going to put on the performance.
And it has his name on it.
Yeah, it's already there and ready, and then this was a question I had. It was like, what is the timeline of this movie? Because it's really unknown. We actually have no idea. And then, they start
his children
to, like,
don't
put the show
age.
Together.
His children are the same age the entire movie.
Yes. But yeah, the whole build of everything, not just the music in the song builds, but the build of the entire scene of what you said. They're nervous, and then they put on this amazing performance, and people love it. And I just think, imagine sitting in a theater and hearing that live. It would be so exciting. And whether it's a theater or an arena tour, or, as I said the other day, I really think this is a Vegas show moment. This is really where The Greatest Showman would thrive, is at Vegas.
A 45-minute long Vegas show.
I would go every day, multiple times a day.
What did I say? A cruise ship.
Yeah, a cruise ship would be amazing. On a cruise ship. Yeah. So I totally agree. Come Alive is such a fun song. Okay, let's talk about From Now On, because it's my number 1, but you're number 2. So let's talk about it now. This song, vocally is beautiful. Instrumentally is beautiful. The storytelling that's happening is beautiful. The scene is bizarre.
I love it so much. This is one of those things where it's like, I love this. It's so dumb. And I think that's what this song perfectly encapsulates. Why are there pictures of him all over the walls of the bar?
Well, like, we had thought that bar was the same bar that they used for the other side. But now I think that he owns this bar because there's photos of him everywhere.
Like, it's very confusing. It is very confusing. I really love the choreography of From Now On. It feels very communal. Like, a lot of the show feels very communal, but it feels very family, community. Like, these people are supporting each other. They love each other. They're here for each other. And that's what this song is about to me. Yeah. And also, I just love how it sounds.
It's such a great, I honestly think that this song from Pasek and Paul is one of their best in all of their repertoire of music because of just the flow of it, and as exciting as it can get, especially when it's and we will come back home. Like, you can just, like, clap along and
Think
dance
about
along
that video
with it.
where they're just, like, clapping to it.
Yeah.
I want to stand on a chair when I hear it.
Exactly. But then you also get to the end of the song, and there's some stunning 3-part harmonies going of just the 3 different characters singing From Now On until it ends up wherever he ends up. But yeah, the scene is actually bizarre because it starts off, he's so emotional, drinking his beer, very sad at the bar. Then we get into this big dance number. Then he runs and catches the back of a train. What?
Going where?
Okay. Well, wasn't he going to... He went to see Charity. Like, he was going home to them. And then the next scene is we see him at her parents' house. And then the daughters say that she's at the beach. And then they have this beautiful moment where they sing a bit of From Now On together.
Their house is a train ride away?
Yes, obviously.
Like, I guess I never got that from the rest of the movie.
At the end of the movie to go see his daughter's ballet show.
Really baffled about the elephant.
But then what I also love about From Now On is that it appears at the very end when he is sitting watching his daughter's ballet performance and he just finishes the end of From Now On and then the movie ends and it's like, now I'm emotional.
It's true. Like, from now on, I will be, a good, a attentive dad. I'm going to change from this moment.
Yeah, and this song had such a huge impact in 2020. It was used for so many dance videos.
The lyric, "We will come back home," that is, the theater anthem has been, this is our home, and, we will come back to it.
And not even that. Shara was telling us that at Camp Ooge, that was their theme for going back to camp. Like that, we will get back here eventually. It's such a universal lyric, and it can fit into different categories of whatever is happening in the world, which is so amazing that, again, this movie came out in 2017 and it had such a huge impact in 2020.
The songs have had great life, outside of the movie. In a way that a lot of movie musicals don't really do anymore.
Yes, that's for sure. I mean, let's talk about Never Enough, a song that had a huge life outside of the movie.
Okay, there was a time where you could not turn on a reality competition singing show and not hear Never Enough 7 times. It was that song. People were not singing Whitney anymore. They were not singing Celine anymore. They were singing Never Enough. And I love Never Enough. I just remember being in the movie theater, and when that song started to play and Jenny Lynn started singing Never Enough, it was so beautiful to me that I was just my jaw to the ground. I remember looking over at you guys thinking are you hearing this? This song is crazy. It's amazing. It's very schmaltzy. It's very cheesy. Yeah. But in a great way for me. It's not it is over the top, but it's over the top in a way that is palatable to me. I love it. I can never get enough of Never Enough. There's a performance that I was watching yesterday that it was, so Rebecca Ferguson played the character Jenny Lind in the movie, but the singing voice was from Lauren Allred, who was a previous contestant on The Voice. And I was watching her sing it at an evening with David Foster. And just some of the vocal choices that she made in that live performance slayed me.
I know.
I just, she does a very measured version for the cast record, for the soundtrack and for the movie. But when she gets to really go wild on there's so much amazing stuff.
And not only is that song so stunning, it is so hard to sing. It is way up in everyone's register, at the top. And you can see that, literally type into YouTube Never Enough and you can see there are millions of covers by so many different artists. It did not matter if you had seen this movie, you were singing this song.
And she's belting it too, right? It's mostly belts.
Yes. She's crazy. Her voice is insane. But I agree. I also love the moment in the movie. It's so powerful, and it is one of those, when she says, "I'm trying to catch my breath," so are you, as an audience member.
I can't breathe right now. I cannot breathe while she sings the song. Beautiful. I love it so much.
So my number 2 is Rewrite the Stars. Obviously, we've talked about my number 1. I love this song so much. And as we said at the beginning of this episode, you can compare this to Rewrite the Story by Jessica and Paul from Smash. And I just think that this song is so beautiful, but not just the song, the scene that's happening in the movie, I just love it so much. Zendaya and Zac Efron are just trapezing around and having this intimate moment with each other because there was kind of drama that happened right before this moment, and it's just great. And it's
This is
beautiful.
The song that attempts to address racial politics in
It's the only song that kind of does that.
Which
I
is
mean,
kind of
that's
like,
part. This is a part of the movie that they just don't get into the storyline. And when we talk about dreamcasting this musical, I want more of a storyline for the Wheeler family because I think it's actually important.
Sure.
And I think in a musical, obviously you can add songs, which they would need to because there's only 11 on this soundtrack. That's a chance for you to explore that. So that would be interesting. But I mean, it's no secret. I love Zac Efron and have always loved Zac Efron. So to see him get to sing a song like this is everything that I wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I love this song. It's so much fun. And the choreography of it, I mean, the iconic when they like swing at each other and then like spin around each other on the like ropes that are hanging. I don't even know. Love it.
I know. We got to do a bit of trapezing ourselves in 2019. I think it was called the Toronto Circus School. I'm not confident, but they let you do drop-in classes of trapeze. And Shar and I had gone originally, and then we went, the three of us, and it was so fun. And I just remember going up there and like grabbing onto the bar before they say drop. I was like, this is The Greatest Showman. We are in the movie right now.
It's so scary up there. Oh my God.
I don't even know how high up it is, but it's pretty high.
I don't know either. The worst part for me was the ladder to walk up.
Yeah, because the ladder is very shaky. And yeah, if you don't like that part and then you get to the top, I just remember the very first time that we did it.
It was totally fine. But
yeah, the swinging is super fun. The part that is terrifying the first time you do it is when you grab onto the bar and your feet are on the edge and you're only grabbing on with one hand first and then you have to like swing to grab the other. And it's like, what if you don't grab the other bar? Like, how do you do this?
And then the guy, the guy is up there with you, but is he attached to anything? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. We were harnessed.
You're harnessed in the whole time.
Yeah.
It's
the
crazy.
thing that made us
really
feel better
crazy.
about it is that there were also many 13-year-olds doing it, so it was fine.
Who were much better than us. Actually, I have to be honest, Tara was very good at it. And
I was good.
Much better than me. I was like dead weight up there.
There's a video. We will put it on Instagram. It will be on our TikTok with it to Rewrite the Stars, so look out for that. But I was actually impressed with how good I was.
Tara was really good at it, again.
I think I should join the circus.
You should join the circus. After 2 trapeze classes 2 years ago, I think you should join the circus.
Well, actually, this is a full tangent now, but I will say the guy that was teaching us, because what we were taught to do was to grab onto the bar, swing, put your legs through the bar, swing upside down, then grab it again, and then basically do like a front tuck and fall into the net. And because we had gone before and then I went with you guys and I was pretty good at it the first time I did it too, the teacher was like, you've done this already. Like, you should sign up for another class. And I was like, oh my God, I can do this.
Whereas
it's my calling.
The first time I went, felt like didn't have a good enough hold and fully fell off onto the net the first time I went up. So that's fine.
But also, great workout. Like, go take a circus class whenever the pandemic is over.
The arms. No, it's so much fun. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was great.
So we decided that we would dream cast this musical if it was going to be on stage, who we want to play each character, and kind of what our vibe, what our vision is for the production of it. Okay? So
I think we should save Barnum for the end. He should be our last person.
Okay.
So let's start with... Who do you want to start with?
Should we talk about like a Philip?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Okay. I went quite basic with my casting of
So did I.
Philip Carlisle. Okay. I went with a Mr. Derek Kletta for the casting of Philip Carlisle. It's quite basic, you know. He's a good, adorable white boy. I can see it.
I also went quite basic, and I went a Colton Ryan. We know that
I almost did that,
Colton
and then I didn't do it.
I also was thinking, like, who is comparable to Zac Efron? And Colton was the first person that popped in my mind. And I did not cast Jeremy Jordan in this musical.
No, I just think we need Derek's muscles. You know, we've seen him do the push-ups and the singing, like, because he needs to be up on that trapeze a little bit.
Yeah, I also would compare this performance to a Dimitri and Anastasia, which obviously he did. It's very, very similar. So that's great casting. I totally agree with it. Well, I mean, on the track of Philip, let's cast his love interest, Anne Wheeler. Who did you pick?
Okay, so my first instinct was like a Haley Kilgore, cute. But then I was like, do we need someone with a bit more danceability? So I switched it at the last minute to Ariana DeBose because we need someone who has that like dance strength.
Yeah.
Because she spends a lot of time on that trapeze.
Yes, she definitely does. I also want someone that she is not like mostly a dancer, but she's been in shows that she does dance, and I went for a Taylor Iman Jones because I'm thinking of just like her Head Over Heels, like she had to dance in that, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of dancing in that. Yes. Yeah, no, she's great. Beautiful
and
voice.
Yes, beautiful voice.
Like the best voice.
And she is scheduled to be in this upcoming Devil Wears Prada whenever this happens. So
they've delayed it again to 2022,
which is the correct move.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't happening this summer, but I think maybe we'll be okay for 2022. We are optimistic.
If she has this like great rise in the Devil Wears Prada, then she'll be ready to leave to go to the Greatest Showman.
Exactly. Do you think there's going to be any acrobatics in the Devil Wears Prada musical? What do you think?
No.
There should be. There truly should be.
What scene would it be for, though?
Some like a Paris Fashion Week or something.
Yes. Like
who's going to play Stanley Tucci in that?
I don't know. I don't think it's been cast. I think the only two names we know are Taylor and Beth Level.
Great casting.
Stanley Tucci should play himself.
Stanley Tucci's going to come to Broadway for this. Yes.
He should.
He has to have a great... he has to do the makeover song. Anyway, not the point. Moving on. Okay. So do you have someone for Anne's brother, WD?
I do.
I cast an Ephraim Sykes for W.D. Wheeler. Who did you cast?
Yes, that's a great one. Josh Henry, obviously.
Oh, I have Josh Henry coming up later. Don't worry about Josh Henry.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I cast Josh Henry for that. And while we're here, as I said, I wanted to create like a bit of a backstory for these characters. So I thought that they should have a mother character. Ooh. Cynthia Erivo, obviously, and she's gonna come in and sing a song all about the struggles of being a Black family in the circus, because that is clearly what the underlying story is that they just choose not to talk about at all. And she will have her own solo song.
Performer?
Yes.
Like Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay.
She is also in the trapeze. Like they are a family of trapeze.
Oh, it's like a triple act, like a
yes.
3 people
Except
on the trapeze.
By the time that we get to stage The Greatest Showman, she doesn't perform anymore.
Okay.
But we'll have some flashback moments of her. Don't worry.
Sure.
But she would need someone to play her younger, and I'm not sure who that would be. So
we don't worry about that. An unknown, an ensemble member. Okay, so Letty Lutz, the bearded lady. Is there anyone but Keala?
No,
she must
Keala is reprising her role. We are not even holding auditions for that character.
No. She is offer only on The Greatest Showman. Okay, did you cast the critic?
I want Ben Brantley to play.
You know what they should do? They should have like a guest, like every week, like a guest critic come in.
Well, I mean, the reason I was calling the critic whatever his name is.
I looked it up, but I just called him the critic. Yeah,
it's something with a B, and because it was a B, I was like, well, this is obviously Ben Brantley. So Ben Brantley's now retired, so he can definitely step into the theater and do this role now.
True. Okay, I went with more of an actual person to cast. A theater actor. And I'm like, this guy needs to get a song. He needs to, I think 2 songs. One in Act 1 telling me, what we're looking for, and one in Act 2, which is like, I realize that we only need to make people happy, being too critical, blah, blah, blah. And I have cast Brandon Uranowitz to play the critic. Okay?
That's so
He's going to wear like a really jaunty hat. He has to wear a hat. I'm picturing it. He's wearing a hat, and he's always got like a notebook and a pen, Yeah. I think he could be fantastic in this.
That is truly the only person that should play that character, so I agree. Okay, let's move on to the iconic bartender from that one
Oh my god,
scene.
I didn't cast the bartender. Okay, go ahead.
Wow.
I forgot.
I mean, it's Cheyenne Jackson for me because it just has to be.
He's always the bartender. Sorry.
That's why. He's
just
typecast.
Always there. He just shows up. Descendants 2 was on yesterday. And I was like,
amazing.
Oh, hello, Cheyenne Jackson. I half watched Julie and the Phantoms, and I'm like, hello, Cheyenne Jackson, you again.
Yes.
Saved by the Bell reboot. Cheyenne Jackson.
He just shows up whenever you need him to show up. So that's why he would be in this one scene. And he would partake in the other side as like a third part harmony at some point.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. And we also counted that they take 7 shots during this scene.
That's important.
Which it all happens in the span of like 3 minutes. Just need to put that out there.
It is a lot of shots. That when he pours so many, fantastic.
It's great.
Yeah, I love the dancing in the other side that the bartender does. When I first saw the movie, I recognized him because he was a member of a show called Legion of Extraordinary Dancers that I think I've like briefly talked about before, and he was on that show too, and I was like, oh my god, I know you. You are Cloud. Love it. Amazing. Okay, who are we casting as Jenny Lind?
Okay, I went kind of classic singer. I mean, I was like, this is a Kelly O'Hara, but I'm not going to put her in this role because that's the obvious choice. So I went for another obvious choice, and it's Laura Benanti.
I mean, yes. The only thing is, she is a soprano, and this is not a soprano song. Never.
I know, but I actually think that Never Enough would be kind of changed for the musical version, which I know is heartbreaking to you.
I think the real Jenny Lind was a soprano, and they just took some artistic liberty. Obviously, this is not the song she was singing.
No.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I really am thinking about the budget for this show with all these star casting we're doing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
the weekly run, the weekly.
And don't forget, this is going to be like a full circus set too.
Huge, yes.
The lighting budget is also massive.
I envision Jenny Lind as kind of a teen angel character. She comes out like twice, sings a song, leaves, probably goes home, honestly, doesn't even stay for bows, you know? And
no, of course she stays for bow. She has to bow.
Will she sing Never Enough again at the bow? And as part of the mega mix, she has to sing a little bit of Never Enough. Okay. I picked Karen Olivo. I was just trying to think of someone with an amazing, gorgeous belt, and I love her belt. So Karen Olivo.
Yes, that's a great choice. I think there are many leading ladies on Broadway that could step in and play this. Oh my god, maybe this is like a stunt cast situation and a different leading lady comes in every night.
Yes, fantastic.
Talking about the budget.
With the critic. Speaking of this budget.
Yeah.
Maybe like Kelly Clarkson comes in, you know, and just
Kelly Clarkson sang it on the Reimagined, so she can totally come in and sing it.
She'll just sing Never Enough.
I'm into it.
Okay, are we doing Charity?
Yes.
Charity Barnum? I have Philippa Sue to play Charity.
Me too.
Barnum. Oh my god.
She is the perfect person for this role.
It's so sweet.
So sweet. But I do think so. She sings Tightrope, which is, if there's a dud on this cast recording, it's that one.
If there's a skip.
Yeah, but I think in the musical we would explore more of her life because I think it's more interesting than we think.
We'll get more childhood scenes, or maybe more of her as like a teen.
Yeah.
You know?
Her voice is so pure and perfect, exactly, that there's literally nobody else to play this role except for her.
I agree.
That's so funny. I love that. I didn't cast any of the children because it would be up and comers, obviously.
No, we'll find some new kids.
But to keep in the theme of like, let's have this as a super high budget, Will Swenson will also reprise his role as young PT's dad.
He gets to go home after he's finished his scenes and not bow.
He is in maybe 2 scenes, and he also doesn't sing, which is a tragedy for everyone in the audience. Maybe we would have him sing like a little teeny tiny bit, but he does not bow.
A million dreams, maybe, you know?
Ooh.
He talk about how he has like bigger dreams for his son than he had.
Yes, it would be like a dark reprise of A Million Dreams, sung by Will Swenson alone.
Gorgeous.
Before he dies.
Yes,
like I dreamed a dream. That is what it is.
Yes, that's his I dreamed a dream moment. Perfect.
And then he cuts his hair.
Yes. He does have like long hair in this movie.
Okay, I think our only person left is the Greatest Showman himself.
Okay, well, I'll go first. I have a few people listed, but like I was like, let's have Josh Henry play this part.
I love that. And I also think it's interesting because I was thinking of who the Greatest Showman could be in comparison to other characters. And I do think that Burr is the correct comparison for a Greatest Showman. And obviously Josh Henry played Burr for a while. So
yeah. I just love Josh Henry. I think he's got a great voice. He's a good mover. He's just fantastic. And I think he'd have so much fun with this. And it's also like a little bit different from what we've seen him do before. I do agree. I think the closest thing is Burr, because Burr is a bit of a showman. You know, when he sings "The Room Is Where It Happens," he, you know, gets to go over the top. Yeah, and I think he would just like a full version of that in The Greatest Showman would be so much fun.
I agree. So for this part, I only have one actor, and to be honest, this actor has been in my mind to play this role if it ever went to Broadway for a couple years now, and it's Ramin Karimloo as the Greatest Showman, because, I mean, could it be anybody else?
Fantastic.
His voice is, like, out of this world, and I've been to a couple of his concerts, and he has sung From Now On, and I feel like he sang... I don't know. I feel like I've heard him sing a demo of a couple other songs, but he has such a powerful voice, and I just picture him at the very beginning, like killing it on The Greatest Show, and I need to hear it now.
I agree. I know. We've heard him sing From Now On. It's on his like Broadgrass, Bluegrass. Yeah. I don't know. He does like a Broadway bluegrass version of it, which is really, really great. And his voice just nails everything he's ever sung. So I love this casting choice.
And I think that the vocals, even though, I mean, Hugh Jackman, and I'm not the biggest fan of Hugh Jackman's voice in itself.
But I think Hugh sounds good in this. You know what I mean?
I agree. This is a way better moment than Les Mis. Yes, exactly. But I do think that the songs are like decently hard to sing, and Ramin is someone that obviously has played two of the most iconic roles, Valjean and The Phantom, which are both like huge undertakings for 8 times a week. So I feel like this show would be easy for him. It would be a breeze.
Just a true like walk in the park for Ramin.
Yeah. And it would also...
I think the dancing would be the harder for him.
I definitely agree. The dancing would be super hard. But I think, like you were saying with Josh Henry, this would be a very different role to something that he's played before.
Ramin's roles have always been like kind of more serious. So this is just pure fun.
Fun. Camp fun. Didn't you have more people on your list for PT?
Oh, my other 2 people were Jeremy Jordan, and then my like, I don't know, but
Jeremy Jordan's not right for the role.
He's not quite right, but I was like, he deserves something. And then my other kind of like out of left field pick was an Andy Karl. Like, Andy Karl could do this. But I like my Josh Henry much better.
I agree.
Okay, so I picked a director that I want to do this, and the director I picked is Rachel Chavkin, because I feel like, was talking about Great Comet, it was first like in a 99-seat tent,
Yeah.
And I feel like, I want this to be done at a tent where like the circus sets up in New York, wherever that is, where like the Red Apple Circus or whatever. And I think she can do stuff that feels like really grand, but also feels really intimate. And I also want it to feel a little bit like grungy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The movie is very polished, but I want it to feel a little bit dirtier on stage.
They need to hone in on those scenes of the protesting and make that the super grungy moments, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Like, the circus backstage is not that glamorous a place, the way it's been made out to in this movie. It's hard. I want it to be a little more rough than the movie portrayed.
Yeah, that's great. I also went with a female director, and actually, we should just say we made it a rule that we couldn't choose Alex Timbers because he's the only person that we ever talk about.
He's the obvious choice. He's too obvious.
Yeah. I went with Marianne Elliott, who also has super cool visions. Obviously, the Company revival she was doing, and also Curious Incident. But then I thought back and I was like, but War Horse, and could she bring the puppetry in?
Think of an elephant.
Yes.
Think of an elephant.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be so much fun. Yeah, I like Marianne Elliott too.
And I also kind of think of specifically in Matilda. This has nothing to do with Marianne Elliott, but I'm just thinking about like the circus aspect of it. Do you remember the scene in Matilda when the librarian is like reading these fantastical stories?
Yes,
and they did like the shadow.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was thinking for like circus aspect of this set, for obviously you cannot have the crazy CGI animals that they had in this movie. No. I was thinking a combination of puppetry, but then also some like shadow play could be really cool.
Right. Yeah. A la, if you remember, like Once on This Island, where they were creating stuff with the sheet and the shadows, and like have you seen like on America's Got Talent where they create the stories with all the human bodies with the shadow projections?
Yeah,
it's kind of similar to that, and you could like make animals out of human bodies in the silhouette. That would be really cool. Okay, well, I'm excited now. for this random production of The Greatest Showman that's never happening.
Did you pick a set designer?
I didn't pick a set designer. No, I didn't.
Okay. I picked one. Also chose not to do a Derek McLean or David Corns because they are two people that we talk about all the time. So I went with Scott Pask, who did the most recent Pippin, and he also has done like Waitress, Book of Mormon, Band's Visit, Something Rotten. But the real reason that I chose him was because he actually worked on the Barnum musical. And I was like, okay,
oh my God, did I listen to Barnum yesterday? I definitely did listen to Barnum yesterday.
How is it?
It sounds exactly like what you'd expect it to sound like. It sounds very circusy.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I actually don't think that this soundtrack sounds circusy at all.
No, I don't think so either. It sounds grand, but I don't think it sounds circusy.
Yeah, and on that track, as we said, this soundtrack only has 11 songs, so obviously we would have to add some music. And I do think that there is a big number missing for P.T. Barnum, because he is in all of these group numbers, but there's never a, like, I messed up number, and I think there needs to be.
You're right. I think he does need kind of a ballad moment.
Yes.
Which I guess is his, like, from now on, he messed up, blah, blah, blah. But
we need it sooner.
Think he needs a ballad moment.
Yeah.
Maybe right after the Jenny Lind moment, when he's on the train home. Something like that, you know?
Yeah. And I also think that there's a Philip solo moment missing.
I can see that.
And obviously Pasek and Paul are scoring this musical because...
Yeah, of course.
This is them.
They're going to continue with their work, you know? Do we do, like, a basic William Ivy Long costumes? Like, you know...
Who did the Moulin Rouge costumes?
Oh, that's such a good question.
That's what I'm thinking. I want over-the-top glitz, glamour, circus outfits. And also just, like, the regular... clothes that they wear, like the Jenny Lind dresses are incredible.
Beautiful. I agree.
Which like William Ivy Long would do.
Oh, Catherine Zuber did the costumes for Moulin Rouge, and like those are fantastic. I agree. Yes, yeah. Like that color palette is very much.
And also, I think of in Sparkling Diamond and Moulin Rouge, the men are all wearing top hats, so it's already there. We've already seen a vision of it.
We got the aesthetic. We have the aesthetic here. Yeah, no, that's a great choice.
Yeah, I just think honestly, and I know that there are whispers of something maybe eventually down the line happening with this story.
Do you think Hugh Jackman would do it though on Broadway?
I would be upset to see him on Broadway, dude. I really would. Even though like he is in all aspects of life the greatest showman, many people would call him the greatest showman. I just don't need to see him in this. We've already seen him do it.
I just feel like he has the ego to do it. You
well,
know what I mean?
Also think about, I don't know, I think it was the year after the movie came out, he did an arena tour, which he's done, his Boy from Oz, and he sang all of the songs from The Greatest Showman. So
yes, like Keala went with him and sang This Is Me.
But I do think that you're probably right, and I think that he would have to give his blessing for someone else to do it if it's not him.
Right.
I don't know. I think by the time it hits Broadway, he'll be too old, to be honest.
Maybe. He'll be like, I can't do this 8 times a week.
No. Or maybe he would start it and then be in for like a limited 3
months, let's say.
Imagine how much it would cost to go see him in The Greatest Showman musical. It would be insane.
Think of the Music Man. Think of how much they're charging for the Music Man.
Yeah, it would be double that though, because everyone that's seen the movie, if they had found out that he was in, like, this would make it become a tourist attraction.
Which maybe would be good. Maybe this is what we need to reinvigorate Broadway. Okay, we need The Greatest Showman musical after this pandemic, starring Hugh Jackman.
I would be thrilled. I would rather him star in this than The Music Man.
Wow, agree.
That's a take. Yeah, that's if he's gonna choose to reopen Broadway with one of the two, it's gonna be The Greatest Showman.
I would live for it. I think we deserve it. It's what we deserve. Okay, make it happen.
I also think that it would be cool to see this as an arena tour. I really do.
Yes, I think an arena tour would be super fun, and like the idea of the tent would be so much fun. I think it would be a blast. I think this is one of those shows that wouldn't necessarily suit a regular theater. It needs a kind of different venue on it, or like maybe an immersive moment.
Ooh, an immersive moment would be so cool.
An immersive moment.
Oh, we had also discussed, which I think it's important that everybody knows, that the merch stands would sell the beard for the bearded lady.
Yes, like the merch in The Greatest Showman at the like P.T. Barnum, where the daughters have the beard. You can buy the beard. I agree.
You can also buy a top hat because it's very important. That wraps up our thoughts and feelings on The Greatest Showman, and also now our thoughts and feelings on The Greatest Showman musical. If you have seen this movie, if you love this movie, we would love to know, and we would also love to know what your favorite song is, because you've heard our favorite songs, so now we want to hear your favorite songs. And with that being said, it's now time for our Obsession of the Week. Okay, Steph, what do you have for us?
Okay, this is a semi-Christmas related obsession, and I know it's months later, but we all need February. To get over it. Okay. Move on. Okay, so I watched on Netflix this documentary. It's called Dance Dreams Hot Chocolate Nutcracker, and it's about Debbie Allen's dance studio putting on what they put on every year, which is the Hot Chocolate Nutcracker, and talking about casting it and performing it and how it came to be. And the Nutcracker is something that's a huge dance tradition and has been for 100 years basically. And it is, but ballet as an institution is kind of very white and has often excluded people of color. And so Debbie Allen created her own Nutcracker with different music and different styles of choreography, and puts it on every year. And a lot of times the Nutcracker for dance companies and dance studios is the huge moneymaker of the year, and it's what allows them to put on the rest of the year's programs and what allows them to lose money on those, which they often do. And this year was a year with basically no Nutcracker, so it was fun to watch this separate version of the Nutcracker and see they have kids as young as 5 and like as old to like young adults basically performing this Nutcracker and the work that goes into it. And it was actually just the joy of performing and the joy of dancing. And also something that I really loved about it was I danced for many, many years up until I was 17. And I watched this and realized, wow, all dance teachers are actually the same. It doesn't matter if it's Debbie Allen or just like Miss whoever from down the street. They're all the same. Just making sure you listen, telling you, you have to be professional, you have to be respectful. I don't know. It like reminded me of when I was dancing, when I was in a studio, when I was a kid, goofing off in the background as you do when you're a kid, and the teacher's telling you, you have to be quiet, you have to do all these things. And it was just such a joy to watch this documentary and see the production that they put on, and talk about her students who had gone on to many other amazing things. And I don't know, it was just such a joy. So the documentary is Dance Dreams Hot Chocolate Nutcracker, and it's available on Netflix.
I've never seen the Nutcracker.
Okay, here's what I'll say about the Nutcracker. I have seen the Toronto version twice, and it is fine to me, but it is not like the end-all be-all of Nutcrackers, and I wouldn't recommend it. I love the Balanchine version that New York City Ballet puts on, but I've only ever seen a filmed version of it. I've never seen it in person. So that's the one that I think is the best. And then this is obviously like a reinterpretation of it. I've never seen it, obviously. It's Debbie Allen's dance studio. But it's a huge reinterpretation of it that takes the basic story and puts like a funkier twist on it. But I do think it is a wonderful holiday tradition. Very Christmassy, though.
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna do a Steph takes Sarah to the ballet.
we were gonna go to Swan Lake this year, which I'm so disappointed. It was like Karen Kane's 50th anniversary, and obviously now by the time we get to back to the ballet, it'll be like her 52nd anniversary. Yeah. But Karen Kane has like done so much for dance here in Toronto and like given us so much. So I hope she'll, we can see her staging of Swan Lake eventually. I do love going to the ballet. And actually I was talking to my brother last night, and he was talking about, dance never really like moved him that much. He said, except for the time I went with you to see Romeo and Juliet at the National Ballet of Canada. I was like, oh wow, this is the one time that like dance moved you. And so I love the ballet, obviously. It made an impact on him. The Romeo and Juliet, I think, is really good. Moving on, Dance Dreams, Hot Chocolate Nutcracker. Tara, what is your obsession?
Amazing. Okay, my obsession is kind of like a combination of a couple things. Guys, we're back with another TikTok obsession. It's just happening. So I actually need to shout out Alessandra for this obsession because she sent the original video in our Bridgerton group chat. So here we are. For you. with I Burn For You from the Bridgerton musical that is now on TikTok. And it's so funny to me that this is happening because obviously we saw the success of the Ratatouille musical that raised $2 million for the Actors Fund, which is incredible and the biggest fundraising goal that they've had. Crazy that this happened off of this TikTok musical. The Bridgerton musical, which we could talk about Bridgerton in itself, and like let us know if you want an episode on us dreamcasting a Bridgerton musical because I'm kind of ready to do it. This show, but also the book series because Steph has demolished that book series.
Tweet me if you want my thoughts on Bridgerton. Antony and Kate forever.
But this TikTok musical was created by user Abigail Barlow with 3 W's, and she has made sort of songs for, I don't know if she's done for every character, but she's done for a lot of the fan favorite characters in this show. And the song that I'm obsessed with is Burn For You, which is the song sung at the honeymoon scene in Bridgerton between Daphne and Simon. And her solo version is good where she does both. But the one that I love so much is a duet with TikTok user Nick_T_Daily. His voice is crazy. And the riffs that they do in this song are not allowed. Like, I don't even understand how they do these riffs. And I know that you've been watching them too because I see on our likes the different people. And I'm like, I didn't like that one. So obviously you did. Henry Platt has done a version of this. There are so many versions of this song. This TikTok musical has like kind of gone viral. It's insane. But I also love what the internet has given us and that more people are like interested in musical theater because of these things. So I love
the idea of collaboration on TikTok. Like the people are not writing these songs for money or like huge fame or anything. They are writing it because they have something they want to share and they're inspired by something, and then what they create inspires other people to add to it and build on it. And I think that is like the joy of TikTok and the joy of things like this is the community collaboration. It is art just for fun, for art's sake, and not for any other kind of gain. And that's what I love about it.
And it's also, it was done in the right moment, right? Like Bridgerton is having a huge viral trendy moment. It was streamed however million times on Netflix,
like
making
63 million times they said, like their number one show ever.
And to capture something that is so trendy at the right moment is what TikTok is made for, obviously. But for it to take off and for Netflix to take notice of it, because they have posted about it as well, is so exciting for this creator. So it's really great. Like, go through and scroll through all of her videos and listen to all of the songs. The Penelope song is really good. Carrie Hope Fletcher did a take on it, which was awesome.
So cute.
I just love that, like, the Broadway TikTok community has grabbed on to another viral moment. And I love this song. And if we were to quickly cast Daphne and Simon,
oh my god, I'm not prepared.
I'm prepared. So
okay,
I just like based off of this Burn For You song that I've listened to a million times now, my Daphne and Simon would be Erica Henningsen and Austin Scott.
Oh my god, Austin Scott is actually like the perfect casting. Okay, I can't top that. Erica's good too. Okay, let's see if I can come up with like someone different for Daphne.
I actually don't think that there's anybody else that could play Simon except for Austin Scott.
No, he's perfect. He's perfect. Because I was like trying to picture it because like Simon's so tall and like handsome, but like serious and intense, but also like fun. Simon, perfect. A good Daphne.
It's hard. I think she's hard.
It is hard because you want someone like innocent and sweet, and I think you kind of want like a higher voice.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think you might have nailed it with Erica and Austin.
I think just watching back Erica's like sings her Broadway bucket list and her singing Meadowlark and how she is so good at easily and effortlessly mixing her belt and her head voice. I was like, oh, this is the girl. Like, we need her for this. So yeah, like I'm ready to Dreamcast a Bridgerton musical whenever. The storylines would be so interesting, but I just think like we are kind of missing that old school era musical theater show, and not like that this would ever happen in real life, but it would be cool.
It would be really fun. I agree.
Julie Andrews can reprise her own role.
You know what she'll do? She'll like pre-record the whistle down stuff. So she's credited, but she's never there.
Yes, it would be amazing. So that's our obsessions of the week, and also our episode on The Greatest Showman. If you, as I said, have any thoughts on The Greatest Showman or your favorite songs, who you want to be in this Dreamcast musical, let us know. And you can let us know by following us on Instagram or Twitter at Off2BWay Podcast.
And you can listen to us anywhere podcasts are found. And you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We'd love it if you subscribed there, left us a comment, or if you went on iTunes and left us a rating and a review.
And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.